from Seattle, Washington.
Hello.
So, Arnold, it's good to see you.
Yeah, pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Arnold Morales.
Of course.
You can go to the next slide, please. So yeah, my name is Arnold Morales. I'm a IB Tech alumni. And I'll tell you a little bit about all the story with IB Tech. In 2013, I was a teenager. I had done my GED, and I was working at a warehouse. I was working at this warehouse, just moving boxes and thinking to myself, wow, can I do something better with my life? And don't get me wrong, working at a warehouse is not bad, but working just moving boxes, something that a robot could do, I was kind of discouraged. So then I was like, okay, what do my supervisors and my managers have that I don't? And I was like, okay, I'll have education. So in 2013, that summer, I took the decision that changed my life. I joined Ivy Tech Community College. I was a first generation college student, so I had no idea what I was doing. I had no family to ask them what to do. I was low income, so I had no idea how I was going to pay for college. I was a minority, so I joined engineering and not a lot of people looked like me. And I joined engineering. So it's interesting how I decided engineering. I went to the career services at Ivy Tech because they asked me, what are you going to major in? And I said, I don't know, general education. I think I put general education. But then they told me to go through an aptitude test. So I did this test and it came back, and I always loved math and science. So they said, oh, you should go into the STEM. What are some things you like? And I was like, I love cars. I like modified cars. I like mechanisms. And then they told me, okay, you would be a great mechanical engineer. And I was like, cool. So I went back home. I went to Google and looked up what is a mechanical engineer. I looked up what is an engineer. Then I spent a whole time on YouTube watching videos of what an engineer was. Then fast forward 2 years, I graduated May 2015 from Ivy Tech with associates in pre-engineering, and I graduated magna cum laude. And I'll talk about my story a little bit at Ivy Tech. Next. So I started the first engineering society, and it grew from 0 to about 100 members. It was the biggest organization on campus. We had several facility tours. We had guest speakers. In the middle, you can see Tom Snyder, our previous president. He was a big advocate for our engineering society. And the top left, you can see Dan Dumbucker. He was a retired director of NASA that came from Purdue West Lafayette to present to us, kind of, hey, you guys are awesome. You guys can do this. And we had a lot of things like that, a lot of guest speakers, kind of just to help us build a network. Next. Because of that engineering society, I started to receive a lot of awards. The first one on the left was I received an honorary membership for the National Society of Leadership and Success. And then the one on the right, that was the Student Organization Awards at Ivy Tech. And I think they gave out 6 awards and we won 4 of them. So it was awesome. We were happy, but at the same time, it was a little awkward. They were like, again, Ivy Tech Engineering Society. So everybody else was like, oh, them again. But it was cool for that year. And then in the middle, I used to talk a lot to students. I used to be a presenter for Ivy Tech. Anytime a Hispanic organization came to Ivy Tech or students that were interested in STEM, they would always tell me, Arnold, you want to present on this day? And I would always be like, yes, I would love to. So the nonprofit started to notice that I was always presenting to their Hispanic community. So then they won an award from Indianapolis, from La Plaza, a nonprofit, and it was the Young Latino Leader Award. Next. And I had some great opportunities at Ivy Tech. I got to sit behind President Obama on his speech on middle class economics, where he talked about free community college. I got to talk to Mike Pence several times about what it is to be a student at Ivy Tech, and then talk to him about a transfer student. So I got to talk to him twice about that. And then I was the first generation of engineering students from Ivy Tech to attend NASA. So NASA invited us over to Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. They flew us over, put us in a hotel, paid for everything. And we just got to go work with engineers and scientists on coming up with the competition. And then on the right is a little interview that I had because of the NASA efforts and representing Ivy Tech. Next. So after my 2 years, Ivy Tech, it was time to move on. And I kind of finished it the best way possible. I was a commencement speaker of graduation. And also on the left, I received an internship at Aerodyne Engineering, which is a medium-sized aerospace company in Indianapolis. And that was a big deal for not just me, but for the whole engineering society and the engineering students, because they picked me over a lot of students from IUPUI, from Purdue. They were impressed and they said, Arnold, we're going to give you a shot. So it was really exciting. Next. And even when I left Ivy Tech, I was still always at Ivy Tech. It's kind of interesting. After a couple of years, I came back as a faculty. I was teaching CAD courses, and my wife graduated from Ivy Tech. She graduated with like all the honors possible. And I also motivated my 2 sisters and 2 cousins to join Ivy Tech because they saw how it changed my life. Next. And okay, so moved from Ivy Tech, I went to IUPUI. I got my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and then I also got my master's in mechanical engineering. And it's interesting, on the picture on the right, I took with my commencement speech from Ivy Tech, just so I could send it back to all my teachers and friends from Ivy Tech so they could feel proud of me. And the picture on the left, those other two people in there, we started Calculus 1 at Ivy Tech together, like the first semester. And we went all 6 years, all the way to a master's together. And it was actually a bigger group, but I put this picture because there were the other two that started the engineering society with me. So all three of us, we built the engineering society and we all graduated with our masters together at the end and all have great jobs. Next. And another thing, when I was at IB Tech, I started to do, when I was at UPY, I did several internships. I interned at Northrop Grumman, which is one of the biggest defense contractors. And that was a big deal for IUPUI because we were starting to put students in the top companies, not just the local ones, but this was in Hill Air Force Base in Utah, and I was working on nuclear missiles. And I was like, remember, GED graduate working at a warehouse, now engineer working at an Air Force base. And then on the right side, it's Praxair. It's a local company, and I worked for their surface technologies. Or as a part-time engineer when I was doing my master's, I was doing a lot of design engineering for their coating services, so they coat aerospace parts. Next. And now I work at the biggest aerospace company in the world. It was my dream job. When I went to NASA, I said, wow, my dream, NASA's great, but my dream is someday to work at Boeing. So now I work at Boeing. At my interview for Boeing, they asked me, Arnold, tell me a time when there's nothing that's been done before and you had to start something from scratch. So I told them my IB Tech Engineering Society started. Like, I started the first organization and we had no templates. We had no idea what we were doing. We were just in the cafeteria one day and we had a big lapse between two classes and we said, what are we going to do? And I was like, let's join an organization. And there wasn't one. So it was like, let's start one. And one of my friends, the other one in the picture, he was laughing. He's like, oh yeah, sure, we're going to start one. I'm like, okay. And then the other one's like, let's do it. So we actually did do it. So I talked to them about that. And then after I talked to that executive and I told him, okay, so this program that I got into at Boeing, it's called EHI, Engineering Accelerated Hiring Initiative, which is Boeing's way of getting the top talent in the US. So they go to the top 20 schools, and Purdue West Lafayette is one of those, and they pick 6 students. Out of those 6 students, 2 of them are mechanical engineers. So they picked me, incredible. So I got to go to Boeing, went to this conference where I pretty much got to pick where I was going to work. They didn't tell me, Arnold, you're going to work here. No, I said, I'm going to work here. So it was really cool, and I love working at Boeing. The middle picture, the Gates Scholarship. Now I'm an interviewer for the Gates Scholarship, and the Gates Scholarship is one of the biggest scholarships in the US. And I'm also on the advisory council for Hispanic Scholarship Fund, which is the biggest Hispanic scholarship fund in the US. Next. And this is all possible only because of people like you, people on foundations, people that help students like me that will have no idea how to pay for things. I received scholarships and grants from the Indiana, from the federal government, from Ivy Tech. I received from the local nonprofits. And this made it possible for me to get a master's. If it wasn't because of all the help that I received, I would have been able to do just associates or just a bachelor's, but never the master's, and to get my dream job. So I'm really grateful for everything that you all do. Next. And to finish off, we have a beautiful family now. I have an 11-month baby, and she is awesome, living in Seattle, living the dream. We go to all these events and things that I never imagined I was going to be ever going to fancy galas and things and donating money, which is one of the things that I found passionate now. And a big thing is you just didn't help me. You also helped the future generations of my family. So my daughter, she's not going to be a first-generation college student. She's not going to be low income. She's going to have more advantages that I didn't have. So you're not just helping me, you're helping the next couple of generations coming. So right after we had our baby, we went home after the hospital. And I think in that first week, I opened up her college savings account. First thing I did. Next. And yeah, one of the big things that I used to do when I was at Ivy Tech and IUPUI is I used to do a lot of motivational speaking, talking to students, giving them advice, and helping them out. I stopped doing that for a little bit when I moved to Boeing. First year, I was new to the city, new company. Everything was new. And the second thing was my wife was pregnant. The second year, she was pregnant, so we had a baby, and we were really busy. But now with COVID, I've kind of had this existential crisis where I was like, okay, I'm not helping anyone. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to get back into speaking engagements, and what a better time to do virtual. So I'm starting to do speaking engagements again. And as a side product, something that I didn't have in the past, I'm building up a podcast called Non-Traditional, where pretty much give non-traditional students advice. Episode 2 was how to, oh no, it was the top 3 challenges for community college students and how to overcome them. And then episode 3 is how to get your first internship. So things like that. So students really get advice, not just from me, but also from my network. Next. And if you ever need a speaker or if you ever want to reach out to me, feel free to. The podcast is more about motivate, inspire, empower non-traditional students to get more out of their college experience. My website's on there. My podcast information, it's on iTunes and it's on Spotify. And you can follow the Facebook page, all type of social media. And since I'm a big millennial, we're going to take a picture together. So you got about 3 seconds to take off your camera if you do not want to be in the picture. So make sure you smile. All right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait a minute. There is 72 on here, so I need to move another one. So smile again in case you were on the first picture. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. One more. 1, 2, 3. All right, and that is all I got. Thank you very much.
Arnold, that is incredible. I'm going to hand this to Kathy for a couple words, and then I'm going to say a couple after that.
I got sneak in here. Arnold and Sue, thank you so much for keeping your word. He reached out to us to say, hey, how can I help? Be careful now. All of Indiana has your contact information. You may have a speaking engagement every day.
And that's what I'm hoping for. So hopefully.
Congratulations on fatherhood.
Thank you. It is definitely different. I am sleepy all the time.
And I will simply say thank you, Arnold. It's good to see you and pictures of your little one. She's adorable. Congratulations. We're very proud of you. And thank you for thinking and remembering Ivy Tech as you tell your story. So
Thank you very much. There's an Ivy Tech sticker on my car driving around Seattle, so.
Well, hey, Kathy, thanks for your kind words to Arnold and your great presentation. And Arnold, I have to tell you, I'm speechless. I remember looking at your pictures and being at a couple of your presentations here at Ivy Tech. So proud that you're passing the torch to your child and hopefully more kids coming. And we will sign you up here today for the next 5 board meetings. The story can never go bad. It's incredible where a kid from Indianapolis has ended up. So congratulations to you, and we're very proud of you. And we will have you back.
Definitely. I am more than happy to help. Thank you for your time.
And keep an eye on